Hello, everyone, and welcome to another video here on the channel. Today, we are going to be talking about the Belgian superstar, Remco Evenepoel, who, of course, showed us that he isn't overhyped. He took the win in emphatic style at Liège-Bastogne-Liège. Anyways, as always, I'm joined by Mr. Critical himself, Ewan, and today we're going to be discussing, as we did with Mathieu Van der Poel after his Strade Bianche victory, and also Colbrelli, how he will fare in the rest of the monuments. He's already taken one off, Liège-Bastogne-Liège. But anyways, Ewan, where best to start than Milan-San Remo, the monument I almost think is the hardest one to win.
It is certainly the hardest monument to win. Plenty of riders have affirmed that reputation. And I mean, for Evenepoel, I think this profile suits him very, very well. He could try to power away on the hills, but we do have to have that caveat of him not really being able to sprint in a reduced group, or he doesn't have that kick that a lot of other people have. So he'd have to really enter the Via Roma on his own. But with that fantastic time trialing ability, I could see him doing it. The one problem as well is the downhills. Evenepoel is getting better at downhilling, at descending rather. He's been working with motorbike riders to build confidence on the descents, but just look at the history of Remco Evenepoel. Descending is not his thing. So with the really important descending aspect of Milan-San Remo, that could be challenging for him, but I would expect him to still be up there in contention. Also, looking at Evenepoel's drawing comparisons to other people, do you think he got the same problem as Pogacar here of having a good kick? Maybe he would be able to get away, but in a race like San Remo, do you think Evenepoel could ditch a Wout van Aert? Do you think he could ditch a Mathieu van der Poel or a Pogacar on the Cipressa or even on the Poggio di San Remo?
Yeah, I mean, that is the big question here. I think if Remco Evenepoel was actually going to win this, he would have to attack on the suppressor, much like what we said with Tadej Pogacar. But he didn't do that. He tried to get away on the Poggio. Can Remco Evenepoel drop the other favorites on the Poggio? Probably not, because the Poggio is a very not a steep climb at all. It's not like the La Redoute. It's 4% or 5% or something. It will have to be one of these attacks where he catches everyone off guard, but everyone's on such high alert on the Poggio that I just don't see it. He'll have to catch them off surprise on the suppressor, or yeah, well, again, like you said, the descending is not his strong suit. Well, he is still a phenomenal descender, but he just might not be. You have to be an absolutely amazing descender, as we saw Mohoric do this year. So, do I think he can win Milan-San Remo? Absolutely. Maybe a scenario like we saw with Jasper Stuyven, where he just is allowed to escape up the road while the other ones are looking at each other. Ewan, do you think he's going to be one of the big riders that they're looking at? Is he going to be considered one of the A tier riders in terms of the favorites?
I think it's certainly an interesting debate. He certainly has shown that he has the kick to win a race like that. But the fact that his team dynamic makes it very interesting as well could also play into it. And we have Alaphilippe, we have all these guys. Maybe it's a bit like with Jumbo-Visma this year, which we saw with Van Aert and Roglic, the dynamic between those two riders, of Roglic being the hillier guy with the kick and Van Aert banking on a sprint. Alaphilippe has that as well, but Alaphilippe and Evenepoel as a double act, they work very well as a double act. In terms of a San Remo, like next year, Alaphilippe is the given package on that kind of profile. Do you let Evenepoel become the team leader? I think the politics in between those two today were kind of sorted out by that crash, which ruled out Jules Alaphilippe. So it would be interesting for sure to see what Quick-Step Vinyl are going to do in 2023 once we get to La Classicissima, if Remco Evenepoel will even be fielded to that race.
Well, okay, Ewan, we should probably put some ranking on this, as everyone likes that. Out of 10, what do you think the chances of Remco Evenepoel winning this one?
I'd say a 7. I'd be hopeful. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it.
Yeah, I would say it. Yeah, 7, 8. So I'm going to go 8 just to make it a bit different. Moving on to the Ronde van Vlaanderen. Very cobbled monument, plenty of cobble climbs. He's won races that has featured some of these climbs before. Not quite the top tier World Tour races, but the lower tier races. And Ewan, do you think potentially Remco Evenepoel could do something here on Ronde van Vlaanderen? He is that smaller rider. He's good at the cobbled climbs. He can get up climbs very easily. And as always, we talk about his very low drag coefficient as well.
Well, with the Ronde van Vlaanderen, I think this is the one that is maybe the most in question. Of course, he's a guy from Flanders. Yes, he's grew up just outside Brussels, not quite cobble central, but the cobbles aren't too far away from where he lives and where he grew up. Also, looking at his record in terms of the Flemish cobble classics as a junior, he won the Kona Brussels Kona junior race. Also, he came 11th at the Gent-Wevelgem junior race, which is not a bad result really at all. However, in terms of his team dynamic, once again, Quickstep Alpha Vinyl, kings of the cobbles, or at least they were in years gone by. Do you think he's going to have the leash really to go for it? When you have a start line as Remco Evenepoel against, I don't know, Seneschal or Asgreen or someone like this, a competent cobble rider, I don't think it's really worth putting all your eggs in the Evenepoel basket. I think Pogacar this year, we saw with him being a Grand Tour winner going into the Ronde, he had more leeway because he didn't have a cobble leader really for that day. But Evenepoel, it'll be hard to sort of prove himself in that scenario.
I think you're being a bit unfair with his cobble riding because he has ridden up the Brussels Classic, Cycling Classic that he won back in 2021. But I will accept that it wasn't a World Tour race. But yeah, you're right. It is the most elite team he can be almost in cobble riding. They didn't prove that this year, but he is the superstar of the team. As you've said before, Patrick Lefevre is putting so much faith in him that I could easily see him being drafted into the team. And potentially, if the call comes, he is the youngest. So we're saying this is next year. We're saying this is in his entire career. I could definitely see him being in a position where he's the leader of the Ronde van Vlaanderen team. But the caveat on all these things is, does he choose to go down the monument route, or is he going to be pushed into the Grand Tour role? In terms of verdict, Ewan, what do you think out of 10, Ronde van Vlaanderen?
4.
Ooh.
I don't see it.
Fair enough. I'll be a bit kinder. I'll give him a 6 out of 10. I have faith in you. The next one, Hell of the North, Paris-Roubaix. Crazy cobbles. Riders have spent their whole career trying to win this race. But Ewan, how do you think Remco Evenepoel, he has this time trialing background, and many of the winners of the race have that, or they're cyclocross riders or whatever. But do you think Remco Evenepoel has the bike handling, he certainly has the engine to win it, but does he have the bike handling? Does he have the support of his team to win it as well?
I don't know. I think that this is the most confusing one because it's Roubaix. It's such a specialism, and you see like riders are very specialized for Roubaix. I don't think Evenepoel will be specialized for Roubaix. He's small. He's lighter than a lot of the riders. I mean, the last time we really came across a 1.70 m rider who weighs 65 kilos who won this race, you probably have to go back a long, long time. His physiology, I don't think, is a Roubaix physiology. You have to be big. You have to be able to take the shock. I don't think he's built for it. And the effort as well to specialize in it, and the risk you take as well as a Grand Tour rider or as a Ardennes specialist to be on the start line of Roubaix, it's a big, big risk because you never know what's going to happen with crashes and so forth. That's why a lot of people believe that Pogacar didn't ride, but we didn't even have many Grand Tour contenders ride the cobbles at this year's Roubaix, despite the cobble stage that will be on the menu at the Tour de France. It's just too much of a risk. I mean, it's just the one I really don't see happening. As a junior, he finished outside of the time cut. I just don't think it's worth risking a Giro or Tour campaign just to say that he's been in Roubaix.
Well, we're talking about winning Roubaix, not just being in Roubaix.
Well, yeah, but like you have to be in the race to win the race. Cliches.
Yeah, so what are you going to give him ranking out of 10? I think he has got the capabilities. It's true his physiology is very different to the harsh cobble terrain there, but I think I'm going to give 3 out of 10.
3 or 2 out of 10.
The last monument, of course, he's won Liège-Bastogne-Liège, so we're not going to be discussing that because he certainly has the capability of winning that. But Il Lombardia, of course, he has a bit of sad history with that race after crashing in 2020. You and Il Lombardia, do you think Remco Evenepoel can be a contender for that race?
Yes, I think Lombardia does suit Evenepoel. We saw in 2020 he was a key character in that race until he crashed dramatically. And then 2021 Lombardia, he wasn't quite in form as much as we would have hoped for, and he came in 19th place. But at the same time, he had Masnada up the road and Alaphilippe in the second group. It wasn't that important really to chase that victory. But I could see him really being up there in Lombardia. A long range attack, I think, suits Lombardia very, very well. He could get away on these steep climbs. It's got a lot of mountains in it. He is a good mountain rider. He could hang up in there and really battle for the victory. And I would say Lombardia is the one that he should be targeting with the most diligence next. It's certainly the one that suits him the most. And it's the one that, I mean, he's only ever done Lombardia and Liège. But in his first ever monument, being right up there in contention for the victory at the age of 20, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the biggest threat with Il Lombardia for him to actually do well is potentially what other goals he has, because he might be so burnt out at the end of the year that he might not be able to contend it. If he's doing the tour, if he's doing the spring classics, whatever, he might not have enough left, or he just ends his season early. So, but yeah, you're right. He definitely has the capabilities, and he has that impressive kick as well that he showed in Liège-Bastogne-Liège that could get him away, and he could solo to the finish. So I will give him a 9 out of 10. I don't know what you will give him.
I would say similarly, yeah, 9 out of 10. I think it will happen before he retires at least.
That's it for this video. Who knows if he'll be joining the 2 other riders from Belgium as well, who have completed the monument set of Roger de Vlaming and Eddy Merckx. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out our podcast if you haven't already. And thank you, as always, for watching, and have a nice day.